If you've ever wondered if FlashUp and Manuel Pistner are real or if they are just making things up, then this video will give you all the data behind the scenes, because for the first time, I'm going to reveal all the numbers and the whole history of my digital agency, Bright Solutions, which delivers software projects and digital marketing for clients. And yeah, then you can judge by yourself if this is all real or if it's made up. The beauty of running paid ads is that I'm getting a lot more people and their eyeballs on my message, and there are a lot of skeptical people, because I can understand this. I think there is a lot of scam out there, and there are a lot of people who are just making things up in order to make money. And yeah, I just want to give you the transparency so you can judge by yourself if this is worth exploring, if this might help you take a shortcut and avoid all the costly mistakes I did in the beginning that I'm going to go through in all details. And of course, I will talk you through all the lessons I learned while making these mistakes and while generating over 30 million in revenue since 2012 actually. Okay, before that I was a freelancer, so I didn't count these numbers. They were just a few 100K per year, if at all, right? That was just me, like being a software developer and a sports enthusiast. I was a professional athlete in karate. Maybe if you Google, you find something from these early days, but it's a long time ago. So I would say let's jump right in. What I'm going to show you in this video is all the details, all the numbers and the learnings that I've put here into this sheet. And yeah, so that you can either take the learnings away for free or avoid the most costly mistakes that cost me a lot of money, as you can see here, and my hair, as you can see in this video here. But before we dive into the numbers, because like everyone can create such a spreadsheet and just like put some numbers in, I want to show you and give you transparency on how I took these numbers. And if you want, you can go to German Bundesanzeiger or North Data. You will find some numbers that match these KPIs. However, they don't include all the KPIs because, well, yeah, these are just numbers from my books, and what's published is sometimes not the whole picture. So let me give you transparency from my actual numbers. So this is unfortunately it's in German, otherwise I would walk you through these documents. But this is a year-end closing document, in this case from 2024, from my main GmbH, Bright Solutions. In these days, I had another GmbH, which is Bright Solutions Hamburg GmbH. This is a business I acquired in 2019. We will also go through that and the learnings and the mistakes. So you can either make it your strategy to acquire other businesses or grow organically. That's your choice. I will just share with you what I learned in these days. And by the way, this is our HubSpot account. Let me just reload it so that you see that these are real numbers. And as you can see, this is from our software projects pipeline. It is all the years since we used HubSpot. I think it's 6 or 7 years or so. And you see that we closed 14.4 million in revenue just in software projects, right? We have other pipelines like the marketing pipeline to sell marketing projects. This is separated in HubSpot for tracking reasons. But yeah, just to see that these numbers are real and you can match them with the spreadsheet I showed you for transparency reasons. And no matter in which situation your business is right now, if you are experiencing a period of hyper growth and you need to make sure that your profit margins keep stable and that you're hiring the right people, or if you're having a hard time like a lot of digital agencies and software development and marketing businesses, because times are changing, AI is replacing a lot of agencies and software development businesses. But I want to show you that it's not just always going straight, right? You cannot just always grow. You always sometimes have like years like this where we lost 362,000 euros in one single year, right? And then we had great years with over 300,000 euros in profit. And then we had another hit because the war in Ukraine started, and like all these projects we had, they just stopped suddenly and clients felt a lot of uncertainty, and we had no idea what to do, right? But it is most important that in these days, you know what to do. You know what's going on and you stay cool, calm and collected, and you act like an experienced business owner, doing the right things at the right time, because then you see the next year will go up again, and then we made 300,000 euros in profit again. So before we go into all the details and the learnings, let's just take a year as an example, and I will walk you through the numbers so you can understand how these numbers were created. Good, so as these documents are in German because my businesses are registered in German and we have to comply with German tax law. That's why I'm just like telling you what's here, okay, what these single line items mean. And then I show you how I went through all the documents for your transparency and put them into this in this sheet here, okay? So let's focus on, the year 2023. If we go to the first document of the Bright Solutions GmbH, this is the year-end closing document, and this is here 2023. So we had 140,000 euros in profits after taxes. So let's just calculate this, 140,000, and we paid 85,000 in taxes. So we add this to calculate the EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So that is 85. And then plus we had here depreciation, which means in 2018, where we made like 300,000 euro loss, we had to activate some own work. So we activated some own work in order to show the bank that our results are good and everything is under control. Otherwise, I took a bank credit of 400,000 euros in these days to rebuild the business, and they would have canceled my credit and my credit line, and like it would have like stopped my business from operating immediately. That's why my tax consultant recommended to add these own work capitalized items, and then we depreciate them over 6 years, I think. Okay, so let's add them. Plus 64, and this is 289,000. Then we also had here some smaller numbers like interests and some additional taxes. All right, and then we also had the other GmbH in Hamburg. So 2023, they made 42,000 euros in profit after taxes. Okay, here they didn't pay tax because we had a very high prepayment in the years ago, and that results in 331,000. And this is, almost what we have here. Okay, so if we add the small nitty-gritty detailed numbers that we have here in this document, like this tax and then these interests, okay, and then these other interests, then we would get to this exact number. All right, so that's what I did with all the numbers. And now let me walk you through from the beginning till the end, until the point when we generated 30 million in revenue in total. So I started as a freelancer, and here I founded my GmbH at the end of the year, and then we were around 800,000, but we were stagnating for years. You see, it's like 4 years without significant revenue growth. But in the end, I always thought when I grow my revenue significantly, everything gets easier. Unfortunately, that proved to be absolutely wrong, as you will see in the next few minutes, okay? So here it was just like me relying on referrals, and I had some part-time employees and freelancers doing the work. So we had some profits, but I didn't pay a salary for myself in these days, okay? So that is just what remains for me. And that's where we also need to pay taxes on, to be clear, right? This is EBITDA, okay? This is earnings before interest and tax and depreciation and amortization. So then in the next years, I thought, okay, I need to hire more people. And I think I was right. I would do it again because like you can only grow to a certain point and then you have to build a stable team. So that burned our profit margins in the upcoming years. And you know what? The biggest problem was that I just hired everyone who had time, because we had such huge staff shortages in Germany. And even if I was with my business in Darmstadt, where we had a university, a technical university that allowed us to hire like software developers, I had no idea about HR and how to assess people properly. I had no idea about marketing. I was a software developer, right? I knew the subject itself, like digital marketing, very little, but software development I was really good at. However, I hired people, and then I've built a team of people who all depended on me every day. And then in 2016, where we started with like some Google ads in our region, we won 2 big clients, okay? You also find them on our website. Like if you go here to brightsolutions.de, you find a lot of big clients we worked with here. You find all the case studies we had in the like last years, okay? You see here, there are a lot more. There are a lot of big clients. You see them, like there is Suzuki and also BMW, we have them, and DPD and banks and Deutsche Telekom. Here is BMW, right? So there are a lot of big clients. These are all like 6 to 7 figure projects. However, the big problem was that we had very high dependencies on 2 big clients, and 40% of our revenue came from 2 big clients. Okay. And just as a proof that I'm not making things up, that like maybe these clients, they came from my network and from referrals. This is our Google ad account. We spent since these days 547,000 euros just on Google ads. And let me show you our 2 ad accounts here. This is Meta. We have 2 ad accounts. In this ad account, we spent 600,000 euros. And this is another ad account of ours. This is almost 400,000. So I spent literally 1.5 million of my own money just on these digital channels. We also test LinkedIn every year, which never really works well. We went to exhibitions, etc. So we spend more money on marketing, but this is all for digital marketing. And this is where like the majority of our revenues come from. Good. So then in 2018, that was my nightmare year. What happened is that first of all, we had a big project crash. If you want to see the drama, here's the TEDx talk. It's called Breaking Free, because I felt like being in prison. Like I literally felt like I've built my own prison because everything depended on me. Like I had sleepless nights. I had 14-hour work days, working at the weekend all day long. And it was so stressful, right? I started this business because I want to be free and independent and become financially wealthy. However, look at it like this. We just made very little profits in the beginning, okay? And then I had to work so many hours. So I was wondering, is it really worth it, right? And these days, well, I mean, if that was my investment to build what I have today, I would say, yes, it was worth it. But in these days, I didn't know. And sometimes that is lesson number 1. Sometimes we are doing things and experiencing things we don't know why all this is happening to us. But if we trust that there is something better in the near future, then it's a lot easier to go through all this drama that I had to go through. So what happened here is we had a huge project and we couldn't deliver it. So we almost had to pay 500,000 euro contract penalties to one of our biggest clients. At the same time, like a bit later, the first client quit and then the second client quit, and we lost like 60,000 euros in monthly revenue suddenly, almost overnight. And I had 43 employees. We had a huge office. We just rented this office in 2017, at the end of 2017, and we had a 5-year contract. This office cost 12,000 euros per month. It was almost 1,000 square meters. And like what happens next is really kind of, unfortunate, because then I decided here that with these project crashes, I replaced my team of 43 people that I just hired because they had the time and didn't do proper assessment. So they couldn't help me in this situation to get the projects done. What I did is I hired freelancers, 27 freelancers, I think, in a few days, and they saved my business and my existence. And that's why I felt like I'm breaking free, okay, which is here again the title of this TEDx talk. I felt like I'm breaking free because I fired 30 people in 1 year and onboarded freelancers. So we lost 2 big clients and I still had to pay salaries for months. And at the same time, I hired all these freelancers. And that's why we made such a huge loss. Then we activated some of our own work. Okay, that's the own work capitalized here. And as I took this bank credit of 400,000 to save the company and rebuild it and invest in digital marketing and invest in new employees and new structures and everything that I understood is going wrong in my business, I fixed all this with this bank credit. So then in 2019, another entrepreneur that I knew since, I think, 6 years from the Drupal community, right? Drupal was our content management system that we've used to build like most of these projects here, okay? He came to us and he told me that he was in a similar situation. So he had clients and some of these clients quit and then some employees left and it felt like his business was going down, and it was. They had 500,000 euros in revenue and made 40,000 euros loss in a single year. Okay, so just a spoiler alert, in the next 2 years, we merged this business into Bright Solutions, so it became part of it, and we completely like changed his life because obviously he made a lot more money without so much worry, And he was able to understand that digital marketing can save his business. He also had no clue. Okay, so we acquired this business, which was called Compress GmbH in these days. Then later it became the Bright Solutions Hamburg GmbH, okay, which I showed you here. That's this one. And yeah. So then what we did is actually we rebuilt the business and we standardized everything and we productized. At least we started. Okay, so yeah, that was merging the business. I would never do this again in a way as I did it in 2019, because I totally underestimated like the big barriers between cultures. I just thought, okay, they are doing web development, we are doing web development, we just merge it, we have a better system, we have better marketing, we are bigger. We just merge them and everything will work fine. It doesn't. So the cultural gaps were huge, and like I had to lay off a lot of people from this business as well because it just didn't work out. But then things went better. However, in 2019, my son Leon was born, and it turned out 6 months after his birthday that he has a genetic defect and he's very disabled, so he needs a lot of our time, attention, and support. And it became clear to me that we also need a lot of money to like care for him and to rebuild a house, to make it barrier free, because he has a wheelchair and we cannot have a house with a lot of stairs. This won't work. Okay. We also need a lot more space because there are so many things he really needs to train himself, to develop some skills, etc. So it became very clear to me that with these numbers, and in particular with 360,000 euro loss, there is no way that I can care for my son. And on top comes the 14-hour workday. So little money and no time. So how should I care for my family? There had to be a change. It became so clear to me, and you see that when you watch this TEDx talk here, that I really have to change something now. It was very urgent. Now, it wasn't just that I had to rebuild my business, I also had to rebuild Compress GmbH. So it was a lot of drama, and I never want to get back to these days, honestly. It was really tough. However, what I did, and this really paid off, which you will see when you look at these numbers, I really started to optimize my business, not for revenue growth, right? You see here, our revenues grew significantly from almost 1 million, 50% plus, 50% plus, more than 50% plus, right? So that was like growing too much, especially when our HR strategy was to hire everyone who had time and was able to breathe. So then we optimized for profits per hours worked. I decided that I don't want to grow my revenues all the time and just make more revenue and then brag that I have a bigger team and more revenues, which is actually what happened when I met other like digital agency owners on networking events. We always talk, okay, what's your revenue? What's your headcount? How many people do you have? And it felt to me like that all doesn't matter. If I have zero or even negative money at my bank account, why do I brag with all these people and the revenue I'm having? Why am I doing all this shit? Why am I working so many hours? It makes no sense. So we started to productize our services instead of selling everything to everyone who wanted something from us and then like drown in complete chaos. Because if every project is always individual and in particular the processes are always reinvented or just chaos, then like this is what burned our profits and increased my workload significantly, because everyone needed my time and attention all day. My employees, my team, like nothing worked without me because of this complexity. I was the only person who was able to handle this complexity and nobody else could. So we productized our services, really standardized what we sell and how we sell it to our clients. Then we were able to systemize, delegate, and automate our workflows. Because look at it like this, when you want stability financially in your business, like these profit numbers, you need to have stability in what you're selling. And then you need to have stability in how you deliver it so that you get stable profit margins. If your profit margins are anywhere from 10 to 30 or 40%, that's way too low. You need to aim for minimum 50 to 70% profit margin to have a healthy business. I'm not talking about EBITDA, like the profits of your business. I'm talking about revenue minus fulfillment cost, direct fulfillment cost. Okay, this doesn't include marketing costs and salaries of overhead and administrative stuff and you as a CEO, etc. It's just what do you need to pay to employees or freelancers so they can deliver the work so that you get money from your clients, which is the revenue. Okay. So yeah, standardization, systemization, and automation really changed the game completely for us. That allowed us to have more attractive offers, which allowed us to build automated sales funnels to get in new clients, right? Now you can see if you go here to Bright Solutions, services, like these are still all our services, okay? We still offer software development, web development, app development, but also digital marketing services. And whenever you go to like one of these pages, these are funnels, okay? So we are selling all our services standardized, as you see it here, through funnels. We have some lead magnets, and then people can request like an individual strategy call to get a cost estimation of their app project, okay? That's how we do it for all our clients, to get all our clients. And we are also selling these marketing services now in Germany through Bright Solutions and internationally through FlashUp. And if you're wondering if this stuff works because you might have been burned by another agency, just look at here the case studies, okay? If you go back and you look at referrals in Germany, there are a lot of marketing case studies as well, okay? And if you go to FlashUp and go to success stories, these are all success stories from other businesses internationally. Obviously it works. The question is if it works for you. And the answer is, well, if you have offers and you just tell, hey, we do this and we do that, and like nobody cares what you're doing. People just want results. Okay, that's what became very clear to me when I started productizing our services. So you need to have a more attractive offer. One offer is enough and one upsell. One offer to get clients in, one upsell to like maximize the revenue per client, okay, the customer lifetime value. And then you can also systemize, delegate, and automate your workflows to deliver easier with employees, freelancers, and in these days with AI, which we didn't have in these days, but this changed in 2022 and the following years. Now let's have a look at 2021. This was a year where we had really, I think it was the highest revenue amount across all the years, yes, and the highest amounts of profits. So that was really what I always wanted. However, the problem was still that my workload was still crazy. We were still in the process of merging Compress to Bright Solutions. We were still in the process of dealing with all these other clients we acquired in the past years. And it really takes years if you have a lot of big clients to like streamline the workflows and to it's a change process. Not every client wants that, right? And yeah, that was the problem. We now didn't have a lot of employees. We just had 12 employees, not 43, but we had a lot of freelancers. And it was also like kind of a test. We need to figure out which freelancers are really reliable and are really fitting our culture. And most of the freelancers we hired in, like, I started hiring freelancers actually in 2012. Some of them are still working with us, but most of them that I hired in 2018 and 19, they are still working with us. And I found that if I give them good work, I treat them well, and kind of give them exciting work, then they stay with me. So it's like an employee, just they are in another country. That's why I cannot give them a German employee contract. So in this year, my plan to deliver digital projects with virtual teams of freelancers really paid off. You still find a lot of these videos online. Also, we documented in our blog the whole journey. We introduced transparent salaries and we did a lot of experiments with self-managing teams. Yeah, so here this is a blog post, what happens with Bright Solutions. And then here is our like experiments with new work, transparent salaries, etc. So if you want to like take this content and translate it with ChatGPT or Claude, you can take the learnings for free. It's all documented here. So yeah, that's what we did in 2021. It was one of our best years. Still, we had to deduct the depreciation here, but that was what we activated here. So this reduced our profits, just for your transparency. Then in 2022, like that was a shock year. The war in Ukraine started and we had a lot of team members from Ukraine. So a lot of clients stopped their projects. We had a lot of uncertainty and we didn't know what's coming up in the next years and what happens to our team members. So we kept similar revenues. They went down a bit, okay? In the beginning of the year, the first half year, or even the first 3 quarters, our revenues were very low. And then suddenly all the projects started in Q4. That's how we could catch up with our revenues. But in Q1, Q2, Q3, our team members, we just kept them because we knew that the projects will start again. We couldn't lay them off. That didn't make sense. So yeah, in these 3 quarters, we lost a lot of money. And then in Q4, we had to hire more people to get all the revenue done. And that's why this year was a very low profitability. And that's how you see things are not just always going straight up, right? Even with a business that has a history of like 15 years, 16 years, things can go wrong and unexpected circumstances will always happen, especially in our fast changing world. You just need to know how to cope, how to deal with these circumstances and what to do. Okay, so we didn't make a loss here, and that I'm really grateful. But then in the next upcoming years, you see everything went back to normal. What we constantly did, and you will see this, we were very selective which projects we onboarded, with which clients we work, okay? We didn't want to allow that one big client dictates all our revenues, and we have these high dependencies that we had here in 2017, 18, around these years. That's why our revenues sometimes here, like they went down, but our profitability was still okay, was still pretty good, right? Especially when I respect that here, like since I think it started since these days, I'm just able to lead this business with 1 hour per day or less, right? Because like my team is caring about the clients and about the projects. I can focus on marketing, on FlashHub, on helping other digital agency owners and business owners, like avoiding the same drama that I went through here in these years, and maybe take a shortcut to achieve a business that grows faster, more profitably, and with less work. So and it was an absolute gift in 2023 when we started going all in with AI. Okay, we also launched new offers. We knew how to productize our services. Now AI was there. And as we already had our workflow systemized, delegated, and automated, it was pretty easy for us to plug in AI. In the same way as we plugged in freelancers and delegated work to them, now we were able to delegate work to AI. And that made our business a lot more profitable, right? That was really it was really a gift. So with these productized services, we added AI marketing funnels and AI automation as an entry service, and then we upsell the full project implementation. It is easy to get clients if you offer one of these two services, like marketing to get leads and clients, or AI automation to automate workflows and reduce costs and increase profitability of businesses. Basically, that's also what we did here. And then, here we merged both companies. It was a sad year because, two of our long-term team members suddenly died. You can still see this on our team page, right? It was Atiko Rahman and Ralf Hendel. Unfortunately, they experienced a very sudden death. And that also hit our business, right? It was unexpected. It was suddenly we had dependencies on these people, of course, and we liked them, and suddenly they were gone. So this also impacted our focus. We had to restructure how we delegate work, and we need to restructure a lot of things because of that. We also had an office in Hamburg. That was an office from Compress GmbH. We still had it, and we forgot to cancel this contract, and we still had this office. So then nobody cared about this office because everyone was working remotely, as we already transitioned all our teams to virtual teams. And then we suddenly experienced that in 2025, there is still this office and we have to cancel a contract. And then we went into this office and saw everything was like a catastrophe. It looked like there was water all over the place and the walls were completely damaged. We have no idea what happened. But we didn't take responsibility to care about this office. So we had to invest 100,000 euros into rebuilding this office and then finally end this contract. At the same time, we also bought a car. And by the way, right, in these years here, I invested a lot in my son Leon, because we rebuilt parts of the house, and we also took money from these businesses in order to finance this, because in 2022, when the Ukraine war started, the interests went very high and suddenly we had to pay a lot of money to the bank. So we decided to pay back our credit that we took here in these years. And that gave us a huge relief. But that was only possible because I've rebuilt the businesses and they were instantly so much more profitable than in the years ago till 2019. All right. Finally, in 2025, we had merged both companies. The office didn't exist anymore. We paid all our debt from the past related to this office. And now we are having the best years ever because we are benefiting from all the experience. and everything we've built in the past years, like the productized services, the delegation systems, the automation systems, AI in our fulfillment system. We have a lot of case studies. Yeah, and that's making my life finally, as a digital agency owner, so much easier. And yeah, my lessons learned is revenue doesn't really matter if your profits are like these, okay? It really doesn't matter, and how many people you have on your team also doesn't matter. What really matters is the number one KPI, which is here, profits per hours worked. I think that's the number one KPI. There's also a video, we link this somewhere here, and if you want to learn a bit more about this KPI to optimize your business for the freedom you want as a business owner, then yeah, feel free to take some time and watch it. I hope this gave you some transparency. If you are still skeptical, if you still doubt some of these numbers, if you're still not clear if this also makes sense, just leave a comment below. I'm happy to reply and give you the transparency so you can judge by yourself if it makes sense for you, if you want to take these learnings and apply them to your business or not, and just make your own experience. Thanks for watching. Cheers.